welcome to another episode of Just Sports with My name is Shoelace. You can call me Amin. Alright, so on today's episode, we'll talk about today. It's all about the transfer news, what's going on in the world of football. Remember, the transfer window is officially opened, and from now till August, so the season resumes in August. It's all about the transfer window, right? Before we go straight into the transfer window, remember Saturday was the Champions League finals, where we also Inter Milan was absolutely degraded by Paris Saint-Germain, 5 goals to 1 at the Allianz Arena in Germany, Munich. And on Wednesday, Robertis tried to frustrate Chelsea, but in the second half, Chelsea proved to them why they were the favourites for the UEFA Conference League, and Chelsea won the Conference League by 4 goals to 1. All right, so we'll discuss about all that, but before we go into it, let's acknowledge our sponsors. So today's program is brought to you by Nurturing the American Dream. Nurturing the American Dream, a book written by Frank A.J. Mensah. The book actually talks about how to gain success in Africa, how to gain success in Ghana, without you necessarily traveling abroad to to make money in order to pay taxes and then to make some sort of riches, whilst you can do that in your own country. So contact us on the social media platform, on Instagram, on Facebook, and you can grab your copy. EF Metalwork, which is owned by Mr. Frimpong, EF Metalwork. Now, EF Metalwork is located at Amasaman, right? Anything that has to do with metalwork, just contact them, and then they're going to do burglar proof, whether it's a gate, anything metal, they will do it for. Just go on their Facebook to just write EF Metalwork and just contact them for your metalwork. And our final one goes to Dell Cosmetics. Dell Cosmetics and jewelry, anything that has to do with cosmetics, anything that has to do with jewelry, high quality cosmetics. Explore a range of foundation, eyeshadow, lipsticks, and more top brands. Stunning jewelries, unbeatable price and expert advice. Just go on social media, just contact Dell Cosmetics and Jewelries, and then buy anything you want to buy. But remember, you have a 10% off your first purchase. Just use the code JABMedia at checkout. Alright, so back again. Today is all about the transfer news. But before I go into the transfer news, let's talk about the Conference League. Right, so last week Wednesday, Chelsea went on to win the Conference League against Robertis in Reklo, Holland. And then, in the first half, we were actually frustrated. I mean, Robertis actually bossed the first half. Chelsea were so frustrated. I thought at a point in time that Chelsea wouldn't win the game. That's how I felt. I felt like Enzo Maresca was being his formation, his tactical sense, everything was being demolished. And then everything was going on very well. Isco, the guy was absolutely magic in the first half. I mean, he bossed the first half. His touches, his skills, his passes, and he assisted Abdi Ezalzouli, who scored the first goal, the 23-year-old Moroccan international. And it was a fantastic goal, to be honest. And then in second half, immediately the second half started, Chelsea brought in Reece James and they removed Gusto, and that was it. The game changed. The game absolutely changed. And then he brought Coral, he brought Sancho, and the whole game changed. And Fernandes, Jackson, Sancho, and Casado banged in all those 4 goals. And Anthony, who and Isco, together with Isco, are the best players for Betis. But Anthony, that was Anthony's worst game for Betis. He was absolutely pissed in that game. He didn't play very well. He didn't even see the game top. The game, see top. He was absolutely poor throughout the whole game. But the thing is, Chelsea were absolutely brilliant throughout the whole competition. Even the game they lost, even the only match they lost, it was as if we know we're going to qualify. So they didn't actually take that particular match seriously, and they were just too good. They were just too good. And you see, this actually proves that Chelsea was just way ahead of all the other teams that were playing in the conference. Because if you look at the conference, apart from Chelsea, the 2 best teams I realized throughout the competition was basically Fiorentina and Betis. That were the 2 teams that I thought could have posed some sort of threat to Chelsea, and then Betis got they got wind up in the finals, and Chelsea won that game at the Tazniski Arena in Poland, and it was a fantastic win for Chelsea. I mean, you play what is in front of you because a lot of people were saying, say, oh, it's the Conference League, it's the Conference League. If they had lost, we would have told them that actually, so Chelsea probably not go fit win Conference League, but then we will love them say it be Conference League. I mean, you play what is actually in front of you. Right. And then on Saturday, 3 days later, on Saturday was the Champions League finals. And PSG typically annihilated Inter by 5 goals to 0. Goals scored by Ashraf Hakimi, Doyi, Doyi again, Vicha Kvaratskhelia, and then Mayulu. The Inter was absolutely poor in the first half. They were worse in the second half. They were absolutely overplayed. I mean, I was watching the game and then I didn't watch the first half, so I went out, came back home, and then I was watching the second half. I was just lying down on my couch and I was watching the second half, and then I mean, Inter was absolutely poor. It's the worst final I've seen since my mom gave birth to me. That was the worst Champions League final I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely piss poor. Poorer. I mean, it was absolutely like the quality of the final was absolutely poor. Yes, don't get me wrong. PSG played very well, but Inter was so poor, so poor. When you get to realize that the game was poor, was the referee didn't even add any additional time. Charlie, I mean, 90th minute now the referee no point. He just closed. The referee just closed because I mean, what again? We are tired of seeing what we are seeing. Because if the referee had added 3 or 4 minutes or 5 minutes, PSG would have even scored again. There was a high possibility they would have scored again. Because the fourth goal came in the 86th minute. The 90th minute, he gave Hakimi a yellow card, and that was it. He closed the game. So there was a high possibility that it could have been 6 or 7. Then the referee had added about 5 or 6 minutes. The game was so poor, like so poor. And then I just look at I can till today I do watch replay and then I ask myself, I mean, how was Inter able to beat Barca in the semi-finals? Like how? I know a lot of people will be like, Flake brought in Arayo and whatever, but no man, like how? How were they even able to? How was Barca able to even concede goals? How? Because Charlie, I in the finals, in the finals, um, if you watch the finals, for example, this guy was PSG's goalkeeper Donnarumma. Like he didn't do anything in the finals. So he had a 7.0 ratings from Flash Score. Like he didn't do anything in the finals. He was basically like Charlie was basically relaxed throughout the whole game. Like my guy was relaxed. Like as if there was nothing at stake. He was so relaxed. Like there was nothing at stake. He was relaxed because Inter wasn't able to create any chances. And Charlie, the highest rating was 6.7. That was the high, and that was Marcus Thuram. And Thuram actually tried to create some chances, but at the end of the day, it was poor. Dimarco was so poor. Charlie Bastoni was. I don't even want to talk about Asebi. He was the worst player on the pitch. He was the worst player on the pitch. So it was so shocking. And then, I mean, you could see that PSG literally currently has the best midfield in Europe. João Neves, Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz. And the funny thing about football is that Vitinha at a point in time was one of the worst players for Wolves. He was the worst player. He was one of the worst players for Wolves. And then when PSG wanted to sign him, Wolves didn't even think twice about selling him. And today look at Vitinha, won the Champions League and one of the best players throughout the competition. So congratulations again to Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, I wanted Inter to win because I don't like PSG, but there's nothing you can do about it because they still won it. And what can you do about it? Are you going to take the trophy away from them? They were clearly the best team. They were just way better, just far better than Inter Milan. Yeah. All right. So back to today's main issue. So today is all about the It's all about transfer news. And then the last week we talked about review. We did a bit of a review about the season. Remember, the next top competition to come in is we will have the international break, the UEFA Nations League. I'm not going to talk about that this week. Maybe next week we'll talk about that. But remember, the FIFA Club World Cup is coming, and then we'll be here to talk about the FIFA Club World Cup from day one to the final day of the tournament. We'll talk about the FIFA Club World Cup, right? But you know what people at this time of the year, what people want to hear is what is the transfer news. Everybody wants to understand the transfer, what's going on in the world of transfer. And then me, when it comes to transfer, my credible person I do follow all the time is Fabrizio Romano and David and Oystein. Right. So all the transfer news I'm going to give to you right now, everything is coming from um, everything is actually coming from Fabrizio Romano, and then you can go to Twitter yourself to see everything over there. But everything is actually coming from Fabrizio Romano, the guy of the moment, the best, one of the best sports journalists in the world. I mean, there's a lot of things I learned from Fabrizio. I know Fabrizio is more about transfer, but there are a lot of things you can learn from him. His demeanor, his confidence, his energy, how he how he presents his news. He's a top class journalist, and that is where I'm actually going to get all this transfer news I'm going to give to you this afternoon. I'm actually going to pick it up from Fabrizio Romano. All right, so let's go straight into it. So the first news is about Bruno Fernandes, right? So as the season ended, Bruno was the Manchester United player of the season. Um, I think to me, I think he was the best player for United, even though in general, the whole Manchester United were very, very poor. But I still think yeah, he was a better player. Now, Bruno Fernandes has rejected a bid to join Al Hilal. So remember, Al Hilal sent Bruno Fernandes a proposal. So the proposal was 100. So they wanted to sign him for 100 million, right? They wanted to sign him for 100 million euros. Um, United left everything to Bruno, so it's up to Bruno to decide if he wants to leave or not. Because remember, the money they are bringing in. Initially, I wanted him to go. I won't lie, I wanted him to go because I felt like United receiving 100 million United would be able to use that money to sign a lot of good players. So I wanted him to go, but exclusive news is that Bruno has rejected the offer, and the money. The money that Al Hilal wants to give to Fernandez, God, the money is so big. Like this guy, even if this guy plays just 2 years in Saudi Arabia, he's done for life. But Bruno says that he wants to stay at United, which as I said, I'm really, really surprised why he wants to stay at United when United is one of the worst clubs in the world, the worst clubs in Europe at this moment. We are not able, we can't win trophies. We can't win the Premier League. I don't know when we can win the Premier League. But then Bruno Fernandes says that he wants to stay at Manchester United. So for people who have not heard of this news, that is what is going on right now. Bruno is staying at Manchester United. Alright, so the next transfer news is Simeone Inzaghi. Now, Simeone Inzaghi is the head coach or the manager for Inter Milan. Remember, he has lost two finals. He lost the initial one against Man City where they lost 1-0. And then that final, I felt that he should have won that final because it wasn't because of Romelu Lukaku, who missed chances that he was supposed to score. And then a very selfish opportunity from Martinez where he was supposed to lead the pass to Lukaku, and then he wanted to score alone and he missed the chance. And he lost that finals, and then just on Saturday he has lost another final again. Right. So Al Hilal, same team that want to sign Bruno Fernandes, also want to sign Simeone Inzaghi. Inter do not want to sell him, but if Inzaghi wants to leave, Inter are ready to allow him to leave. But the way things are going right now, there's a high possibility that Simeone Inzaghi might and will join Al Hilal. I don't know why he wants to leave Inter. I don't know if it's because of the money, but I feel like it would be better for him to start Inter and try and give the Scudetto another opportunity. Try and give the Champions League, because Inter do have some very good players, and they still want to sign more good players. But as things stands now, Al Hilal's management will be arriving in Europe later today to have a meeting with Inter. It's a high possibility that Simeone Inzaghi will join Al Hilal as the new head coach. Now, the next story here is McMahon. So we all know McMahon. McMahon is the senior goalkeeper for AC Milan. Now, Maynard doesn't want to extend his contract, and Chelsea wants to sign him. I mean, why Chelsea wants to sign him, I don't know. I don't know why Chelsea wants to sign him. To be honest with you, I don't know why Chelsea wants to sign him. The reason I don't know why, because Chelsea keeps on signing, like they keep on signing goalkeepers upon goalkeepers. They sign, they sell. They sign goalkeepers, they sell. So I don't get a reason why they want to sell him. I remember, um, I don't get it. I don't know if somebody can explain to me, but I don't know why Chelsea wants to actually Chelsea wants to say, yeah, I know they've got Robert Sanchez. Sanchez is a very good keeper. They signed Sanchez recently. So if they want to sign Mike Maynard, are they going to sell Sanchez or what? I don't get it. I actually don't get it. But there again, Chelsea wants to sign him. And remember, Sanchez was on the bench Sanchez was on the bench during the finals of the Conference League against Betis. Jagensen was the goalkeeper. So I don't get why Chelsea wants to sign him though. But there again, Maynard is a fantastic goalkeeper. He's very good. I think he'll do well for Chelsea. And Chelsea actually wants to sign him. So at this moment, Chelsea will have a conversation with AC Milan, and we'll see how things will go. I'll give you more updates on that. As I said last week, that my social media team, I mean my producers and the social media team, will start posting. I don't need to come online for us to address. There will be a time where I might do short videos on the transfer. So I might do short videos and then we'll post them on social media. Apart from that, we'll also be posting transfer issues on our social media platform. It doesn't need for me to come and do a whole full transfer show. You get me? Because I can't do that all the time. I can't do that every week to every week. So I might do a small like synopsis. I can do a short videos and then like a reels, and then it will be posted. And as I said, all my transfer news, I'm getting all my updates from Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, BBC and Sky Sports. That's what I'll be picking my majority of it is coming from Ornstein and then Fabrizio Romano. So yeah, so there are issues or there are stories where if you go to Twitter or Facebook, you put Fabrizio, you're going to see most of the stories over there. Or yeah, or if you listen to his podcast, you get a lot of issues from there, which I do all the time. Right. So the next story is on Sancho. Now remember, a lot of rumors is going on social media that Chelsea don't want Sancho. That's the reason why Sancho, because it's been confirmed this morning that Chelsea is not going to sign Jadon Sancho. And remember, the deal that Chelsea did with United was that when Chelsea signed Sancho on a loan, the deal was mandatory to buy. So Chelsea were supposed to buy him at the end of the season. If Chelsea doesn't buy him, Chelsea was supposed to pay Manchester United £5 million. 5 million euros or £5 million. I'm not sure of that. But they're supposed to pay Chelsea 5 million. Now, the issue here is that United don't want Chelsea. And United don't want Sancho. But, excuse me to say, but Chelsea do want Sancho. But they want Sancho to reduce his salary because Sancho's salary is around 350 million. And they want him to reduce it. It seems like Sancho doesn't want to reduce it. And they're not able to come, in terms, like, they're not able to decide how much they are going to pay him. So because of that, Chelsea decided that they're not going to sign Sancho. And Sancho has returned back to Manchester United. But United don't want Sancho. So Sancho's management are actually looking for a club for Sancho. So even though Sancho is coming back to United, he's not going to play for Manchester United. And yeah, so I'm going to keep an eye on this news because I have to do more stories, more digging about it. Which team won us? At this moment, I don't know any team. It's not been confirmed by any of the reputable sports agencies or sports media or football journalists. Which team right now at this moment actually want to sign Sancho? So at this moment, I can't tell you. You get me? I actually can't tell you. But what I can say is that Sancho is not going to start at United. He's leaving Chelsea because of his current salary. Chelsea don't want to match his current salary. So because of that, Chelsea are going to pay 5 million to United for not signing Sancho, and Sancho still has to find another club because United don't want him. So that's the news surrounding that. Now let's go to Rasmus Højlund. Manchester United signed Højlund from Atlanta for around 60 60 million euros. And then Rasmus came to United, and then he's been struggling ever since. This is literally his worst season in his professional career. He did better at Atlanta, did better when he was playing for Copenhagen in Denmark. And this is his worst season, and a lot of in fact, majority of Manchester United supporters are now against this guy, against Højlund. They feel like he's the worst striker they've ever signed. And then personally to me, I don't know why United fans think like that, but I think he's the worst player. And don't get me wrong, one reason I don't like about Højlund, or I get frustrated watching Højlund, is his ball control. Anytime I watch him, he reminds me of Lukaku. Lukaku has a very, very, very worse first touch. But the difference between him and Lukaku was that Lukaku knows how to finish. He knows how to score goals. But Højlund doesn't know how to score goals. And he's been struggling ever since. And as I can speak to you right now, Inter Milan wants to sign Højlund. Now, Inter has started talks with Højlund himself. So Inter have actually contacted Højlund's camp, and they started talking. They want to agree on personal terms before Inter will then open talks with Manchester United. So I'm keeping an eye on that. So as I said at the moment, Inter Milan wants to sign Rasmus Højlund from Manchester United, but they've opened talks with Rasmus Højlund's camp. They want to decide and finalize personal terms before they'll then move to discussing how much they are going to pay to Manchester United for Rasmus Højlund. And when this news broke out, 2.2 thousand comments and over 60,000 likes, because United fans they won't pursue him. They want him to go. So United fans are actually happy that Inter wants to sign Rasmus. Where people are making fun at have Inter actually watched Rasmus. But I mean, he's a talented footballer. It might not work with him at United, but he can go to Inter and perform very well. Let's look at somebody like Gyökeres. He didn't do well. Gyökeres didn't do well in England, but look at what he's doing at Sporting. So anything can happen like that. So yeah, of course, and it's going to be a fantastic deal for Rasmus himself. I think he's going to be a starter at Inter. You know, I think he'll do very well at Inter. But we'll keep on following and see what will happen in subsequent days. Now the next person is Kevin De Bruyne. So Kevin De Bruyne has officially left Manchester City. De Bruyne has left United, and then the team that wants to sign him is Napoli. Antonio Conte wants Kevin De Bruyne. Now De Bruyne wants to join United. De Bruyne wants to join Napoli. And medical text at this moment, De Bruyne himself wants to also join Napoli. But then, as we talk at this moment, De Bruyne's camp together with Napoli's camp are still checking the document. They are still exchanging documents, trying to check the documents and make sure that everything is perfect before they book a medical test for De Bruyne. Napoli wants De Bruyne to sign before he goes to for his vacation. So as I speak to you now, they are still trying to sort out all the documents and make sure that everything goes on smoothly, and De Bruyne can book for his medical test and then finally sign for Napoli before he joins Belgium on international break and subsequently his holidays. So we'll keep an eye on that news. So the next transfer issue is on Jude Bellingham, the younger brother of Jude Bellingham. Now we all know Jude Bellingham was crucial to Sunderland returning back into the Premier League. The Black Cats. I love Sunderland, one of my favorite English clubs, and I can't wait to see the North-East derby. I mean, yeah, Newcastle, and then I can't wait to see the Jodies versus the Black Cats. Newcastle versus Sunderland. I can't wait to see the derby next season in the Premier League. But it seems like Jude Bellingham is not going to be part of that derby because Borussia Dortmund wants to sign Jude Bellingham. Now, according to Sunderland, his release clause is worth 40 million euros. So if Dortmund wants to sign him, Dortmund has to match his release clause. The question now is, I don't know if Dortmund will be willing to match his release clause. I don't know at this moment, but Dortmund wants to sign him, and Bellingham also wants to go to Borussia Dortmund. He wants to play in the Champions League. He wants to go. But before he can go, he his release clause is worth 40 million euros. So meaning basically, Dortmund has to match that 40 million before Sunderland will allow him to join Borussia Dortmund. So we'll keep an eye on that. I have a lot of people who have said Bellingham is overrated. You know, he's the reason why people know Job is because of his brother Jude. He's living in his brother's fame. I've the few times I've watched him for Sunderland, I think he's good. He's not as good as his brother, or he's not an elite midfielder, but then I think he's good. And you know, he's a midfielder. You can't judge him based on goals and assists. Judge him based on his interceptions, his crosses, his passes. You know, judge him based on that. Again, but you know, one of football is all about goal and assist. Even midfielders are looking at goals and assists. So I'll keep an eye on that and see how he's going to perform this season. So I'll keep an eye on that. All right. So keep an eye on that. Yes, as I said, the release clause is 40 million euros. Sunderland currently have no intention to negotiate under the release clause. That's as I said. If Sunderland will sell Bellingham, then Dortmund have to match the release clause of 40 million euros. Right. So that. We'll also keep an eye on that. Right. The next one is Brian Mbeumo. We all know Brian Mbeumo, the striker or the winger for Brentford, who scored 20 Premier League goals this season. Now, Brian Mbeumo has decided that he wants to join Manchester United this summer. He has said it. United has signed their first player, which is Matheus Cunha, on a 65 million euro deal from Wolverhampton. Now, Mbeumo has told United that he wants to join them. United knows that. He has also told Brentford that he wants to join Manchester United this summer. Now, as I speak to you right now, United have opened talks with Mbeumo to decide on his salary, but they've not yet negotiated with Brentford yet. So when that happens, it might not be on the show, but then I might do a short reels to explain that to you. But as I speak to you now, United have not yet opened talks with Brentford Football Club, but they've opened talks with Brian Mbeumo. So there's a high possibility that Manchester United fans might welcome Brian Mbeumo to Old Trafford next summer. So we'll keep an eye on that. But one thing is for sure, as a Manchester United fan myself, forget about the fact that I'm wearing a Liverpool JC. I'm a sports journalist. I wear a lot of JCs, so ignore that. But as a Manchester United supporter, I mean, it would be lovely to see Mbeumo playing for United, because I know Garnacho will be leaving Manchester United this summer. There's a high possibility that Marcus Rashford will also leave to Barcelona. So, you know what? The thing is, I mean, Mbeumo will be a top-class player. Imagine having both Mbeumo and Cunha on the wings and having Bruno Fernandes in the middle and getting a top-class striker. Because since Rasmus Højlund might leave United, United needs to sign a top-class. So imagine you have someone like Victor Osimhen, or you have somebody like Victor Gyökeres, or even any top striker. I think it will change a bit of the fortunes for Manchester United. But remember, it's not also about getting top class. You know, you also need players who will come out from the bench to be able to influence the game. So we'll see how that goes. So we'll keep an eye on that Mbeumo issue. Our next one is Marcus Rashford, my favorite football player right now. Now, Rashford's loan at Aston Villa has officially ended, and Rashford has officially returned back to Manchester United. But Rashford wants to leave United. United wants Rashford to go. They want to remove him out of the books. Remember, Rashford is taking around 350,000 per week, and United want to reduce that. So Rashford has to leave United. But Rashford wants to join Barcelona. He wants to go to Barcelona. Barcelona also wants him. Recently, I saw him commenting on Lamine Yamal's post. You can see that this guy wants to go to United. He wants to go to Barca. He wants to go to the new camp. And remember, the new camp will be opened in September. Rashford wants to play there. He wants to score goals there. He wants to be a top-class player. He wants to go to Barca. And then Hansi Flick wants him. And I mean, I think Rashford will do very well because Barca is a very stable club. Have fantastic players like Lamine Yamal, Dani Olmo, Rafinha, Robert Lewandowski. They have top class players. Ferran Torres, top class players. You know, they got a world class coach who I know Flick can actually straighten Rashford. We also saw what Emery did to Rashford when he went on loan with Villa. How he worried how he worried Paris Saint-Germain in the quarterfinal. So you can see very well that he will do very very well for Barca. Barca fans want him. He wants to go to Barca. We'll keep an eye on Rashford's situation there. Right. Um, the next one is Milos Kekes. Milos Kekes. Now, with Milos Kekes, we all know Milos Kekes, the defender for Bournemouth, and Liverpool wants to sign him. Bournemouth don't want to sell him, but Liverpool are desperate for him, and Liverpool are again still working to sign Milos Kekes. Together with Milos Kekes, Liverpool also wants to sign Florian Wirtz from Bayern Leverkusen. Liverpool are prepared to break their transfer record to sign Florian Wirtz also from Leverkusen. So we'll keep an eye on these two deals, and we'll see how that goes. So I think so far that's the key transfer windows we have. Before I go, let me put a tip on Liam Delap. So Liam Delap, who is close to joining Chelsea from Ipswich Town. United also wanted him, but it seems like he's more focused on he's actually more focused on joining Chelsea. So the way things are going, I think Chelsea will sign him. But also keep an eye on him because nothing has been done yet. So when it's a done deal, we'll officially give you the information on wherever that deal will be heading to. So these are some of the key issues so far on the transfer window. Remember, the transfer window is so long. It's going to end in August. So from now to August, it's all about the transfer window. What are teams going to do? Which sort of players are Manchester United, Barcelona, all the top clubs across Europe wanting to sign? We'll talk about that. We'll keep on talking about that. We'll keep on giving you updates on our social media platform. All right. So once again, thank you for watching. Before I leave, I would like you to follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube at Tap Media TV. Myself, you can also follow me on Instagram at a.am Amin, on Facebook at Mr. Amin, on Twitter at Mr. Amin, and on Snapchat at Mr. Amin. Thanks so much for watching. I mean, thanks so much also for the support. When it comes to, I always say, when it comes to content creation, when it comes to journalism is we feed the news to the masses. So whatever information I gather, I have to forward it to the masses. But whilst we do that, we also need your support. We need you guys to follow us. We need you guys to support us. And we are hoping that we'll become bigger and bigger and bigger. I remember there was about 3 months ago, I sat here and I said that we are looking to create a football podcast. I've not forgotten. The podcast will come very soon. We are still engaging. We are still planning. If you are not getting the numbers on Jab Media TV, how do you expect us to do a podcast? So I beg you, follow us, subscribe to our pages, and we appreciate you. I'll see you guys next week. But remember, as I said, we'll keep on posting daily updates on transfer windows. Thank you so much, and then I'll see you guys next week Tuesday.